Well, good morning, kids. How is everybody doing? I hope you're doing okay. Welcome to another episode of The Abyss. I am, of course, your host, The Eternal Abyss. I have my coffee. I hope you have yours too. Um, I'm running late as usual. And I'm just needing to do a little bit of social media maintenance here because I usually, as I've mentioned before, I usually do a quick social media post to let everybody know um, that, whoops, that I am indeed live online here and that people can watch me. So I'm doing that right now, doing my little social media postings. Um, there's always some interesting things going on. I don't intend to have this episode go very long. Um, since there's a couple things I have to take care of today, so I probably will I will probably try to make this shorter. I'm not gonna say I'm going to succeed, but um, we'll definitely try here because there are things outside of streaming that I got to deal with, unfortunately. Um, so what are the big topics that have been going on that has been going on for quite a while? I mean, this isn't a new topic. It isn't. It's not going anywhere. Well, actually, before I talk about everything, I gotta do my usual greets. I gotta say hello to everybody on all the various platforms that I'm on. So, hello to everybody on Bitwave. Hello to everybody on um, Twitch. Hello to everybody on YouTube, on the live, and I want to say hello to everybody on Float as well. Hello, hello. I hope you guys are doing all right. Um, as I was saying, one of the major topics that has been going around the social media sphere, the news media sphere, political sphere now, um, has everything to do with cancel culture and um, censorship and quote misinformation or quote disinformation, bullshit of that caliber. And it's always targeted in one direction. It's always targeting conservatives. It is always targeting media outlets that are not CNN, that are not MSNBC, that are not Vox News, that are not like Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks, for instance. Things of that nature. So it begs the question, if we are oh so concerned about misinformation and disinformation, pray tell, why are we only targeting certain groups of a political spectrum? Because um, I think it would behoove anyone to say, well, if the concern is that there's a lot of misinformation out there, okay, and the concern is there's a lot of half truths and clickbait and all that, everything that goes along with that. If that is indeed the case, then shouldn't we be looking at everything? Shouldn't we be looking at every single thing that's being put out there? Instead, no, you have AT&T, for example, Um, coming on there. Whoops. You have AT&T like writing a letter to Congress talking about, what can they do to stop channels like Newsmax and Owen and Fox News from broadcasting and or from, disseminating, radicalizing people, things like that. This is the thing that annoys me more than anything when I hear these sort of discussions, because conservatives in general, conservatives in general are very much advocates of free speech. Generally speaking, you don't hear conservative circles saying, "Oh, only we should be allowed to say what we want to say. Why only we should be allowed to have news networks. We should only be allowed to post stuff on social media. Only I should be allowed to speak." That doesn't happen. That never happens. So what it boils down to at the end of the day here is that you have companies, corporations that, one, are going way outside the realm of what they should be doing as a company. AT&T frankly should not give a flying fuck what I say, what you say, what anybody says. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous that AT&T as a service provider has to dictate what television I want to watch, for instance, on their direct TV services. I mean, who the flying fuck is AT&T to tell me what I should and should not be watching? And they want to hide it in the guise of morals and ethics, things like that. Well, if that's the case, if this is a case of morality and ethics, then shouldn't they be filtering every single thing that's on their television networks? I mean, you don't want all this ultra violent programming on your television. It may hurt the kiddies' eyes and brains. So maybe we should just eliminate everything that shows any sort of combat, every cartoon, right? Every movie. All the ultra violent programs on HBO and Showtime and things of that nature. Because God forbid, it becomes a question of morality at this point, don't it? Seems to me also maybe, if all this, since we're talking about HBO and Cinemax and Showtime, all the, after a certain time, Cinemax has porn and all that other stuff. HBO is pretty much porn all the time. All the shows have incredibly explicit sex scenes. Where's the moral turpitude concerns there? Where are the moral considerations for that? You don't think the encouragement of the use of drugs and alcohol and sexual deviances and all that kind of stuff, that's not a moral concern for the fiber of society? So So it's dumb. It's just dumb. It's truly idiotic. It's truly idiotic because this is obviously political. It's obviously political. It's obviously politically motivated. It's obviously targeting conservatives. It's obviously this continuation of a trend of trying to remove conservatism and conservatives from the public sphere. Conservatives and conservatism is being pushed to the throes of the extremes. We are being thrown asunder, and we're thrown aside, and we're being labeled consistently and continuously as extremists. So I'm like literally and physically tired about over this. Frankly, it's really taxing to have to deal with this nonsense consistently, because it's obvious to anybody with two neurons rubbing together that the likes of CNN and ABC and MSNBC and corporations like Coca-Cola, CNN, things like that, it's pretty damn obvious to anybody that these people and corporations are nothing but basically propaganda arms for the left. That's all it is. That is all it is. That's it. And the problem that we have here, the problem that we have here is that nobody on the right really does anything about it. Nobody on the right really does anything about it. Let me update something real quick here. I gotta add another topic to my description here that we're gonna talk about, because this is trending right now. So I want to just make sure that that's included. I can't update the title, but I can update at least the description, I guess. I don't know. We're gonna try. We're gonna try. Let's see. I gotta go to the right windows here. Give me 2 seconds. Because this just came up on the trends here. Fire Fauci. The hashtag Fire Fauci is trending at the moment, and for good reason. In all honesty, I mean, the guy's a fucking idiot. He's been consistently wrong about everything that he's talked about. Consistently wrong. So, you know, anybody in any other job, if they would have been as wrong and inconsistent as this asshole, it would have been fired so long ago. It amazes me that he still has a job. But that's politics for you. That's what happens when you're in politics. You could be the most incompetent Dunderbrain. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Because as long as you have favor within a political party, you can kill someone in a car accident, drowning them like Ted Kennedy. Nothing's gonna happen to you. You could be a pedophile and for many, many years just keep groping and sniffing little children and groping women. And they're gonna install you as the next dictator. They're going, you could rape people, use interns as cigar humidors, and you're still touted as one of the most wonderful people on this planet. You can tell them to eat cake, essentially, while people are suffering for unnecessary lockdowns. And you kill the state economies, people losing their jobs, their livelihoods, and their loved ones when you unnecessarily put sick people with other sick people that are more vulnerable and you kill them off. But it's okay. It's okay because you're part of that little political elite. They make bobbleheads out of you instead. Ain't that precious? You know? Ah. But yeah, that's trending right now. Um I don't know how long that trend's gonna last because Twitter does have a tendency to crater trends when they don't like it. So, like, let me check here. And it seems like Clarence Thomas is again the only guy that actually cares about the law. He's trending. And I think they killed the trend. I'm not seeing the Fire Fauci trend anymore. Did they kill it? Oh, nope, it's still number one. Okay. It disappeared for a moment. That's weird. And I haven't seen that happen very often where a trend is happening and it disappears and it comes back. Very weird. I wonder if Twitter is trying to crater it or something like that. But anyways, yeah, Fauci is a fucking idiot. Okay, this guy has used a pandemic to make himself like make himself a celebrity. There's one tweet here that kind of nails it. It says Dr. Fauci has very clearly exploited a crisis for his own ego and pursuit of stardom. He has no regard for the businesses he destroyed, lives taken from suicide, or the children who have fallen behind in school. But hey, did you see that TV interview he did the other day? Yeah, he deserves to be fired from that position. He truly does. I mean, this is the guy, all right? This is the guy, and this isn't just a conservative versus liberal thing, okay? This is the guy who, when the camera is on, he will put his mask on, and when the camera is off, according to what he thinks the camera's off, he just takes the mask off. This is the guy that says that you should be wearing a mask, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, and then he's at baseball games surrounded by people and not social distancing. This is the same guy who couldn't make up his mind if you should wear a mask or not. And now he's saying you should wear multiple masks. I mean, the inconsistency of this asshole is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Anyone who takes this idiot seriously, I mean, I'm sorry. I have to question your judgment if you take this guy seriously at this point. Simple. And he's even talking about, for example, this is a quote from Fauci, okay? There are certain aspects of being vaccinated and what that means to you personally and your own personal safety and that of your family versus what vaccines will allow you to do in society. There are things, even if you are vaccinated, that you're not going to be able to do in society. For example, indoor dining, theaters, places where people congregate. That's because of the safety of society. You yourself, what you can do when you are together with another person, we are looking at that, and we're going to try to find out very quickly what recommendations could be made about what people can do. So, Mr. Science, Mr. Doctor, Mr. Medicine here apparently doesn't even know how vaccines work. I mean, this guy is a fucking moron. He's an absolute moron. So yeah, fuck him, and he should be fired. He was the highest paid government employee last year. That fuckface was making bank left and right, hand over fist, while people were suffering, losing their jobs because of the idiotic, contradictory recommendations that he was giving. Yeah, fuck him. Alright? That's all I gotta say. That's all I have to say. Is fuck that guy. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me. And now, excuse me. And now, this is the other thing. Speaking of COVID, I wasn't planning on speaking too much about COVID because whenever I speak about COVID, I start ranting and raving. Um, but this is the other thing now. Okay, so you have news reports coming in, for example, that Canadians have to, and even here in the United States, you have to take your. It's becoming mandatory that you have to take COVID tests, and in Europe as well, you have to take COVID tests when flying. And this guy was flying back into Canada. He refused the airport COVID test to determine whether he would have to go under quarantine, and the government fined him. Okay, you have Thailand. Thailand is saying now here. I had this just up. Tourists with valid COVID passports may soon be allowed to holiday in Thailand. COVID passports. COVID passports. I mean, this is getting to the point of retarded. I'm old enough to remember. I'm old enough to remember that for years and years, I remember people complaining so much and bitching and moaning about the whole Palestine-Israel conflict and the fact that Palestinians couldn't go into Israel because they had to go through this whole papers please kind of process where you had to keep presenting these papers like if they were in Nazi Germany. And I remember everybody complaining on the left saying, "Oh, this is so terrible. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, people shouldn't be doing that. This is totalitarianism. Oh, this is authoritarianism. Oh." Yeah, I remember that. Yet, now this is welcomed. I'm sorry, I don't understand that leap of logic at that point. I don't understand how people can shift so quickly because I've been in all my life pretty consistent, in my beliefs. Sure, have certain things evolve, certain things changed a little bit. That's normal. You get more information, you get more data. Your knowledge expands, and as your knowledge expands, you learn about things, and then you have to make adjustments in the structure of your thinking and how you view the world in certain cases. If there's evidence right before your eyes that you think the grass is purple and there's clear evidence that the grass is not purple, the grass is green, then you're going to go, well, I guess I'm going to have to accept that the grass is green, and that's an adjustment that you're going to have to make. But how can someone so arbitrarily just flip in that fashion where these people were talking about how horrific this sort of totalitarian behavior on the parts of governments and entities and institutions, how horrible this was, and within a decade, if not even, go, yeah, no, it's fine, it's fine, no biggie. I don't, I don't understand that. I honestly just don't understand that. It makes no logical sense to me because give a little bit of credit to people, and maybe that credit is misplaced. Maybe that credit is misplaced. But I would like to give a modicum of credit to people. Um, I like to think that they're not that retarded, but maybe I'm wrong. So moving on, I don't want to dwell on this nonsense, but this is gonna be a problem moving forward. Okay, this is gonna be a problem moving forward because I shouldn't have to have. I mean, I'm already following enough rules when it comes to having a passport for international travel, for example. That's fine. I never questioned it. It's okay. I think it's reasonable for governments to know who's coming in and out of their countries. I've never questioned that. I get that. But if you're gonna try and put all these extra restrictions on travelers for no fucking reason at all, for a virus that has an over 99% survival rate, I mean, then the entire world should just fuck themselves at this point. We should just launch the nuclear bombs and just finish it because we're too stupid. We're too stupid to run these countries, run the world. We're too stupid. And it's not even a matter of just these governments and elites. We the people are too stupid as well because we're allowing this. We're simply allowing this bullshit to keep going. We have allowed governments to completely destroy our lives, kill people, for an entire year. I, I don't understand what has happened to people. Is there like no is there like no moral ground anymore? No ethics. Nobody has the balls to stand up to these assholes and tell them to fuck off. Why is everybody oh so scared? It just I'm rambling, I know. But I'm not seeing anything. I don't see any improvement moving forward. That's the problem here. The more we go down this rabbit hole, the more the more we're gonna be dealing with worse and worse. Because if you allow these things to creep in little by little, little by little, little by little, look what's happened this entire last year. We allowed an enormous amount of abuse on the side of governors. We allowed an enormous amount of abuse by the side of the federal government. We've allowed an enormous amount of abuse on the side of mayors. We've allowed livelihoods to be burnt down, rioted, and destroyed because, of idiotic political machinations and slogans. Organizations, destroying entire cities over something that never freaking happened the way they portray it to have happened. It never happened the way they said it happened, like when it came to Black Lives Matter and all that kind of stuff. There is no evidence that there was like racial motivations behind those actions, but they keep pushing that. I mean, it's ridiculous. We allowed governments to betray the people over and over and over again, and this ultimate betrayal that happened in January 6th is the culmination. It's the epitome. And it's only going to get worse. If you think that the system's going to self-adjust, you're in for a world of pain and a world of hurt. They won't fix shit. They're not going to fix shit because it's convenient for them to not fix shit. If it made sense for them to fix stuff, they would. They're not. They're not, because it allows them to stay in the power that they have. And they're not going to relinquish that power. I mean, just look at the fact that for, since time immemorial, these people have done shit to give themselves checks and balances of term limits. In fact, quite the opposite. What they have been doing over time is eroding away at those checks and balances. Hey, Illustrator, welcome to the stream. Illustrator saying the problem with humans is that we're too adaptive. In a perfect world, we have been setting shit on fire the day out of this 2 week to flatten the curve shit at lab. It's not stupidity, it's intellectual laziness. Better for them to maintain problems rather than fix them. Yeah, but Trump wasn't even that much of a threat. I mean, if you think about it. Hey, John Minor Washburn Jr. on YouTube. Welcome to the stream. Trump wasn't even that much of a threat if you really think about it. I mean, what did Trump really do to threaten the status quo? He didn't do shit. In fact, quite the opposite. His actions have led to the strengthening of the swamp, of the deepening of the swamp, of the expansion of the swamp. They've gone full tilt nuts, full tilt authoritarian. I don't see any actions on the side of Trump that is a threat. Yeah, but the hole in the border, like the open border thing, for example, that has been going on since Reagan. I mean, this isn't something that happened that just kind of came out of the blue. So I don't see how Trump was so much of a savior here. And now his actions that he's taken now, oh, he's going to talk at CPAC. Hole in the swamps border. I'm not sure I follow. I'm not sure if I follow what you're talking about there. Oh, I haven't even sipped my coffee yet. Jeez. I don't even know if I said my little thing like I have my coffee, I hope you have yours too. Well, I have my coffee, I hope you have yours too. Now I'm gonna take a sip of mine. Oh yes. So I don't know. I mean, to me, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, that shouldn't have happened. That is true. That is true. That's true that Trump should never have happened in terms of being president, according to the elites. Yeah. No, you're right there. I mean, the next coronation was supposed to go to Hillary Clinton. I mean, look who they were gonna try, who they were trying to push against Clinton. They were trying to push Jeb. Jeb was what the polls were saying that Jeb was the most popular guy at the time during the primaries. Yeah, give me a fucking break. It was obvious that the primaries were all bullshit on both sides because everybody knew that Clinton was going to be the next candidate for the Democrats, and they were going to try and coronate her. Simple. I think it is stupid, though. I think it is stupidity. I don't think it's just intellectual laziness. I think it is stupidity. I think it's stupidity because people actively are working against their best interests. And I think that has everything to do with your level of intelligence. I have never looked at something and go, "Oh, this is going to shoot me in the foot, but I'm going to go for it anyways because some particular bias and reasoning that I have in my brain that has nothing to do with the actual reality of the fact that it will shoot me in the foot." You know, no. I don't agree. I don't entirely. I mean, part of it is intellectual laziness. I partially agree with that illustrator, but I don't think it's entirely that. I think intellectual laziness plays a role, and I think stupidity definitely plays a role. People are fucking dumb. I mean, when you fall hook, line, and sinker for people like Hillary Clinton that speak to you, that they go to your community, for example, and say, "Oh, and I talk to you with your cadence and accent, like or AOC." And I'm not trying to target one community over another because it's not a matter of that. It's a matter of like even white people are pandered and are catered to. Well, I think it's a combination of both. That's what I'm saying, Illustrator. I think it's these people. These people fail to take action and ask questions because it's a combination of not wanting to put in the effort and because they're just dumb. They want to be fed garbage. So so there you have it. Um, we live in this is the situation we live in now, where we're allowing governments to just be totalitarian, and there are large swaths of group of people that are powerful enough to be able to do anything about it, but they're not going to do anything about it, and they're welcoming this sort of thing. I mean, just look at the Supreme Court, for example. They refuse to they refuse to look at the Pennsylvania case. And the only guy that has any pair of balls attached to him is Clarence Thomas, where Justice Thomas acknowledges that November 3rd election irregularities and what it opened the door and that it opened the door to fraud. He acknowledged that on November 3rd the election had irregularities and that it opened the door to fraud. And he asserts that the court should have heard the case. Trump was denied his day in court. He was saying that he said he let me get the quote. There was this quote. Where was it? I had it, and the Twitter feed just screwed up on me. Was he the only dissenter in that? Really? Oh, this is a sad day. This is a sad day when nobody gives enough of a shit except for one justice on the Supreme Court that this election was stolen. Yeah, he's quoted in saying the decision to leave election law hidden beneath a shroud of doubt is baffling. And he says our fellow citizens deserve better. We do. I mean, this right here, the fact that nobody on the Supreme Court has any any fucks to give about the integrity of our election, it speaks volumes to me about what trash these people are. I'm beside myself right now. I am absolutely beside myself right now. How can a country how can a country move forward with any sort of election at any level? I mean, there's no fucking point in participating in any election anymore. And it's confirmed now. They won't even look at the case. They won't even listen to it. I don't understand. I don't. It just really baffles me. Shouldn't you care at the very core that there is some level of integrity in your country's electoral system? Any irregularity should be enough to go in there and say, okay, listen, let's look at this irregularities, whatever it may be. It may not even be fraud. It just may be just an irregularity. It may be a flaw in the system. It may be just a problem that needs to be fixed. Let's not even take it to the point of that there was active fraud being perpetrated. What the fuck? What the fuck? The United States is truly fucking dead at this point. I see no recourse at all at this point. I would love for someone to tell me like what am I like someone like myself supposed to do moving forward? I'm supposed to pretend everything is fine and keep voting in a retarded rigged system that nobody gives a fuck about, that nobody wants to take a look at? I mean, is this is where we're at? Where we're at now? I can't even. I can't. I can't even put the words together right now. How pissed off I fucking am about this. I don't seethe often. In fact, I don't think I've ever seethed in my life. I think this is the first time I'm seething. I think this is the first time I'm quietly seething. It very well may be. I think we're making history right now. No, I mean, but seriously, I was like, "Well, come on! How can only one? This can't be right. He's the only one that dissented." I cannot believe this bullshit. I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing if there's anything in particular. Like, I'm not seeing that in any news trends right now. Hold on, let me check something. Let's see here. So not one, just two, actually two. The Supreme Court refused to hear two 2020 election-related appeals. Falling one vote short of the four needed for the High Court to agree to hear the case. Clarence Thomas dissented from the denial of certiorari, as did Alito in a separate dissent, joined by Gorsuch. So Alito, Gorsuch, and Clarence Thomas are the only ones that are worth anything on the Supreme Court right now. Two cases in the Supreme Court were rejected on Monday. Both involved the 2020 election in Pennsylvania and the constitutionality of a state court decision overriding an unambiguous deadline the Pennsylvania legislature established for the receipt of mail-in ballots on 8 p.m. on election night. As Justice Thomas explained in his dissent, dissatisfied, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court extended the deadline by 3 days. The court also ordered officials to count ballots received by the new deadline, even if there was no evidence, such as a postmark, that the ballots were mailed by election day. The Republican Party Pennsylvania and several members of the Pennsylvania House and Senate attempted to challenge the Pennsylvania Supreme Court's decision in the U.S. Supreme Court before the election, but at the time, the justices refused to expedite the case, leaving the petitions for review to proceed under the normal briefing schedule. Fuck them. But following briefing, the court denied the petition on February 22nd. Thomas dissented from the court's denial of the petition for certiorari, calling the court's refusal to hear the case inexplicable in his dissent. Thomas explained both the problem with the Pennsylvania Supreme Court's decision and why it was imperative for the U.S. Supreme Court to enter the fray. The Constitution, this is his quote now, the Constitution gives each state legislature authority to determine the manner of federal elections. Thomas opened his dissent, citing Article 1, Paragraph 4, Clause 1, and Article 2, Paragraph 1 of the National Constitution. Yet both, before and after the 2020 election, non-legislative officials in various states took it upon themselves to set the rules instead. The originalist jurist continued. Whether such non-legislative actions violate the Electors Clause of the Constitution has become to be known. Whether such non-legislative actions violate the Electors Clause of the Constitution, which governs the section of the President, in the essence of the exercise of self-government, Justice Thomas wrote, because elections are of the most fundamental significance under our constitutional structure. Elections, however, enable self-government only when they include processes that give citizens, including the losing candidates and their supporters, confidence in the fairness of the election. The dissent continued. And unclear rules threaten to undermine the system. They sow confusion and ultimately dampen confidence in the integrity and fairness of elections. While our country was fortunate that the rule change in Pennsylvania did not alter the outcome of the federal election, we may not be so lucky in the future, Justice Thomas stressed. Well, honestly, I disagree with him on that one. There's no evidence to show me that it actually did or did not change the outcome of the election. Because there's plenty of evidence of irregularities and fraud that happened. So that's prognostication that he just made, that sort of a statement, that's baseless and incorrect. No, we are not fortunate. The rule change in Pennsylvania did alter the outcome, or potentially alter the outcome of this election. And as such, that is why these cases need to be heard. So we can actually determine whether the outcome was changed or fucking not. That's the whole fucking point. So on that particular point, Clarence Thomas can go fuck himself as well. He shouldn't be making such statements without any hard evidence to show for that. This whole system is fucked. Anyways, let's move on here before I bust a blood vessel in my head. Well, that was a Federalist article. Yeah, a lot of good they did. They were just originalists just to get on the Supreme Court, I guess. They just claimed themselves to be such because they obviously are not. They obviously don't give a shit about the law. They don't give a shit about anything, apparently. All they cared about was to get the stupid robe on their shoulders, and that's it. I mean, they're set for fucking life. What do they care now? It's nigh impossible to get rid of a Supreme Court justice once they're on the bench. Rarely has there ever been any sort of impeachment. So we're now fucked because we have these fuck monkeys up there doing nothing. And you have people that at least have a modicum of sense here and there, like Clarence Thomas, but even in his case, what he was saying, for example, that fact that, oh, it didn't change the federal election. How the fuck do you even know? You don't. You have no fucking clue if it actually changed anything. You don't know that at all. Whatever. You know, I'm done with this bullshit. I'm moving on for today. We'll talk about other stuff because, like I said, I'm gonna bust a blood vessel in my head if I keep going down this road here. But we were talking about like the censorship. Yeah, the House Democrats demand censorship of Fox News, Newsmax, and Owen. Two House Democrats sent a letter to every major cable provider. Oh, I thought it was AT&T that sent a letter to Congress. My bad. Actually, at the beginning of the stream, I thought that I was mentioning that I thought it was AT&T that had done that. No, it was actually the House Democrats that sent letters to uh well, no, because I saw, okay, I'm confused because I saw a letter. I saw a letter that was floating around, and I don't know if who wrote it and from where, but regardless, the point is that that letter was from AT&T actually. But you have House Democrats, two House of Representatives sending letters to every major cable provider: AT&T, Verizon, Roku, Comcast, Dish, Cox, Hulu, and Google's parent company Alphabet. A letter to demand that they remove those news outlets from their platforms, and I'm sure some are going to comply. Like Google, they're going to be retarded enough that they're going to do it. Wouldn't surprise me. AT&T maybe. I don't know. See, your more traditional service providers like AT&T and T and Dish and Cox and stuff, those guys, Comcast, they are gonna get a lot of fucking angry customers, and I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna end well for them. The more like Roku and Hulu and things like that, those guys, because they're more just a streaming platform, they probably will remove it. It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. I don't know if they will or not. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. So I don't know. You also have like a news report here that I saw this. Not that it really fucking matters at the end of the day. Um, but you have a report that blue collar voters are flocking to the Republican Party. Apparently, I don't know. That's let's see if I don't even know if that's true. Let's see. Well, I mean, GOP over time, I mean, with Trump as well, he did appeal a lot to blue collar voters. So blue collar voters were definitely shifting already under Trump because a lot of them voted for him in 2016. So there's definitely unhappiness with the Democrats on the side of blue collar workers. But you have data from an NBC News poll, for example, and I know NBC News polls, take it with a grain of salt because it's NBC, but data from an NBC News poll shows that the composition of two major parties is changing, and one massive shift is coming from employment, the kind of jobs Democrats and Republicans hold. There are signs across racial and ethnic demographic groups that Republicans are becoming the party of blue collar Americans, and the change is happening quickly. If the movement continues, it could have a large impact on the future of the GOP. Consider the scale of the change overall. In the last decade, the percentage of blue-collar voters who call themselves Republicans has grown by 12 points. At the same time, the number of groups identifying as Democrats has declined by 8. Among white-collar voters, the number have remained stable, with Democrats seeing a tiny increase and Republicans seeing a tiny drop. With these voters, the numbers mirror the large-scale shift to a 12-point gain for the GOP. So that is a major political shift, and it does include minorities too. So blue-collar voters made a major shift from the Democrat Party to the GOP under former President Donald Trump, including those from Hispanic and Black demographics. The percentage of blue-collar voters who associate themselves with the Republican Party has grown 12 points over the last decade, an NBC News poll found. During the same time frame, a number of blue-collar voters calling themselves Democrats declined by 8 points. The shift holds true across demographic lines, with more Hispanic and Black blue-collar people identifying with the GOP. So that's rather interesting. That's the case. Not that it really makes any difference at the end of the day. Because if the elections are all fucked anyways and they're all rigged, I mean, there could be as many shifts left, right, up, down. Doesn't freaking matter. Doesn't matter at all. Cable content is regulated by the FCC, yes. Well, honestly, even if it is true, it won't make a difference. It won't make a difference at all because, whatever shifts are happening, this last election made it pretty obvious that whatever the demographics are, whatever the numbers are for voting, it doesn't fucking matter. I personally am not participating in elections anymore. I have no reason to participate. I have no reason to believe and have any faith in that system. In fact, as I've said before, I am looking into just even renouncing my citizenship. I refuse to remain in a country and pay taxes to a government that is nothing but a dictatorship. I have no interest in that. (2021), as you see in my background, to me, the United States died. They allowed the installation of a dictatorship under a military blockade here and a military fortification. And the people are just fucking letting it go. America used to stand for something. America used to stand for, freedom and strength and self-governance. This little thing, this little philosophical thing called manifest destiny. We used to believe in that. That was the whole foundational philosophical principles of our country. That we are the makers of our own destiny. Not anymore. So I have no fucking reason to participate in anything election-wise moving forward at any level. I have zero confidence in the system now. And nobody gives enough of a shit to like I said, to look into it to try and fix things. And sure, they can say they change laws and they can change shit, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Because the same people that corrupted the system to the extreme that they did, do you really think they're going to change things to make it so they have to keep things fair and they won't be able to tip the scales anymore? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. if you believe that these people are going to self-adjust, if you think these people are going to fix things, then I fart bran muffins for breakfast. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to even think with a straight, like to say with a straight face and to think for one consecutive minute that the same people that that perpetrated this level of fraud are going to go, oh, okay, we're only going to do it this time. Well, we'll fix everything now. Even if we don't want to look at the court cases, we'll fix it. Yeah, right. Anyways, last item of the day. We're gonna talk about this last item, and then I'll call it a day because I got a lot of stuff I gotta take care of. I got an appointment to run to as well. So Facebook and Australia. There's been this ongoing thing between Facebook and Australia, right? Turns out Facebook pushed out on their position because they had blocked news items from showing up on people's Facebook feeds in Australia. Turns out they pushed out and said, okay, fine. Facebook allowed is now allowing people to share news links again. So Facebook said this Monday it will restore the ability of Australian users to share links to news articles following a new deal with the local government. The agreement, which gives Facebook and the Australian government 2 more months to negotiate a long-term agreement, ends a nearly week-long period during which Facebook users in Australia could not access or share news stories on the platform. Facebook had restricted news sharing in response to impeding legislation that would have required it to let an independent arbiter determine how much compensation it had to give to publishers for linking to their stories. Users cannot share links or access news stories from Australian or global outlets. The new deal includes amendments that give Facebook greater control over how it compensates publishers. Going forward, the government has clarified we will retain the ability to decide if news appears on Facebook so that we don't automatically be subjected to a forced negotiation. So actually, I guess I need to update my title. It's not. I don't know if necessarily Facebook is the one that pushed out in this case. It seems like that the Australian government is the one that pushed out. Okay, well, my bad. I take it back. It wasn't Facebook that pushed out. Facebook twisted the arm of the Australian government, and the Australian government are a bunch of pussies, apparently. Well, here we are. Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult for governments to tell Facebook and social media platforms like Twitter and Google to just go fuck themselves once and for all? I mean, I don't understand why this is so difficult. I mean, I don't understand. I really don't understand. I'm severely disappointed in this sort of thing. I'm just severely disappointed. Anyways, with that, I think we're gonna call it a day. Um, I'm aggravated enough. I don't think I want to keep going on the stream right now. I haven't finished my coffee yet though. So I'm gonna finish my coffee, then I'll end the stream. I don't really have much else that I want to talk about right now, so I don't know. What do you guys want me to talk about? Let's make this more interactive. Anything you guys want me to talk about? Any topic? Any news item that I don't know about? Do you want me to rant more? Oh, hello. Thank you. That always cheers me up. How can Why didn't the overlay show up though? I gotta fix that. I don't know what's going on with that. But yes, I mean, how can you be upset when you listen to that song? It's so nice. Thank you, Illustrator. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know why that's not. That's weird because I don't. Something must have gotten messed up with my overlay for that. What am I missing here? That's my D Live overlay. Let me check something here. Yeah, it's right here. That should be working. I don't have anything disabled on that. Huh. That is peculiar. I wonder why. I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm gonna have to see why that's not showing up. That's weird. That's weird, man. Weird. I don't know what's going on with that. But I appreciate that, sir. But my coffee is now gone. I have stuff I gotta get up and do here, so I want to thank everybody on all the various platforms for watching and just listening to me rant and rave in this particular episode. You think an episode that numbered 6-9 would be more enjoyable? Uh, less ranty, more upbeat. Um, well, but I can't help the news items that come out, and I can't help the fact that it pisses me off. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And tomorrow, obviously, we're gonna be back here, same platforms and everything. I want to thank everybody for watching on all the various platforms that I'm on, and for those that may have noticed, I have my better microphone with me. Hey. I finally got that plugged in and everything, so I should sound better than usual. So thanks all for watching. Take it easy. We'll see you tomorrow, and as usual, don't be complacent. Bye.